Hello and welcome to February, the month of love or the month of friendship or however you want to call it. My name is Roxana, and if you're watching this, you might be watching it on either Avid Diva or Metamorphosis Rocks. Those are the two channels that I own, and I'm going to explain why you're seeing it on either one of the two channels in a minute. But I wanted to welcome you. Thank you for watching. And I wanted to explain to you what's going on because if you watch the channel, you know I haven't been posting as regularly as I had planned on posting. Now, the reality of it is that I've overcomplicated my life and I have to simplify my life as much as possible. So hopefully this video will help people figure out where they belong, for lack of a better word. So let's start from the beginning. Now I'm going to try to give you a 30-second version for those of you that have never seen me before. The 30-second version is, okay, I'm going to start right now. Summer of 2013, I had stomach issues. January of 2014, I had gallbladder surgery. First time ever I had surgery other than for miscarriages or having a baby. That was the first time ever. Between the summer of 2014 and the winter of 2014, both my husband and my father were diagnosed with cancer. My husband survived. My father did not. He passed away January of last year. Then my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and for the last 10 months I took care of her until it almost killed me, and at that point I had to put her in a good place so that she's taken care of and I can take care of my health. And that's the short version of the last 3.5 years of my life. So I've always had the name Avid Diva. There is another Avid Diva somewhere around here. He's a music genius, so if you find him, he's really amazing. But I am an Avid Diva. That name came to me for other reasons, very different than his. Now, I also have a channel called Metamorphosis Rocks. For some reason, last year, and I realized I was not in a good frame of mind, I had a mess of things between the two channels. And the thing about it is that I have Facebook pages that have the same names, so that complicates matters more. But I really haven't been posting a lot anywhere for the first month of the year, and basically I'm going to give myself a challenge for the month of February because it's only 28 days short to not try, but to post something every day for the next 28 days. And that's everywhere. So the way I figured it out, the first thing I wanted to do was explain what was going on so that you guys know where I'm standing and what I'm thinking of doing. Now, if you've ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, and I don't know a lot of people that haven't, Gary Vaynerchuk had a video that I'm going to post a link below where he was talking to people my age. And although I love social media and I've always been technologically inclined. My father was an IBM engineer. My brother was an IBM engineer. We've always had computers in the house, etc. There's a lot of stuff on social media that I know how to do. And I figured since Gary's been talking about people my age not knowing how to do things, I was going to use one of my channels to go through it and learn to use different social media platforms with you. Now, since I don't know how to do something on my phone, and yes, I do have an Android, I don't know how to do things on my phone so that you can see them while I'm doing it on the phone. We're going to learn to do that together as well. We're going to learn to do everything together. I am going to post both in English and in Spanish because I am Puerto Rican, and I think that's something that's missing. And for anybody that's 50 or over, I think the whole point of social media, we just use it to track family and that kind of thing. We don't use it the way we should, especially if we have businesses. I have a few friends that have businesses, and I've never seen them post anything business related on social media. They don't even have Facebook pages for their businesses. And I think that's something that we need to encourage more and more. There's also people like me who are disillusioned or disenchanted with working in big corporations and want to do their own thing. Now, in my case, this is not my income producing activity. I am a Jamberry independent consultant, and that's how I make my money. So I can actually do videos, and if 1 million people see them, that's great. If one person sees them, that's even better. So that doesn't affect me. And maybe that is part of the stress level reduction situation, because I'm not as stressed as somebody that's making this for a living. Now, don't take me wrong. If they start making money, I'm not going to complain. But what I'm trying to say is that this is not an income producing activity for me. This is just more of a method of me getting my name out there. Now, Jamberry is not the only thing I do. I also write. I'm a writer and I do other things, and I will be introducing them little by little in the channel. So this is where it gets interesting, because until today, if you went to Avid Diva either here or on Facebook, and I am going to leave the link below, you would go to Facebook or wherever, and Avid Diva would have a lot of information on Alzheimer's. On the other hand, Metamorphosis Rocks had a lot of information on Jamberry. And this is how I'm going to change this, and I think it'll make sense to most people when I explain what's going on. Avid Diva is the main username, I guess, or handle, or whatever you want to call it, that I have everywhere. I have it on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. I'm under Avid Diva. And the name of my company is Avid Diva. Now, everything that is business related is going to go into Avid Diva from now on. Starting today, February 1st, 2017, anything that has to do with business. What I learned to do in social media. What I learned to do in my own business. Things, the hassles, the tribulations of starting a business. All of that stuff, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to follow Gary's advice. He had a second video, which I'm also going to post a link below, where he was talking about maybe it's not so much about creating content as putting the updates of your life, what most people call a vlog. I'm not going to necessarily be vlogging every day. In the month of February, I'm going to make that a goal. But what I want is for you guys to go real time with me in what I learned, which also means that any business book or any motivational book I am going to read, I'm going to talk about in this channel. Now, Metamorphosis Rocks is the channel where I talk about lifestyle changes for people 50 and over. It makes perfect sense for me to move everything that has to do with Alzheimer's and caregivers to that channel, because those are topics that have to do with lifestyle. I'm also going to talk about, I probably will talk at some point about makeup and clothing and all that other stuff. All those things that are interests, that are not necessarily income, they're interests for me. Those things are going to go over to that channel. That also means that anything that has to do with Jamberry and my work as an independent consultant, direct marketing, all that kind of things, are going to come to Avid Diva, because the point is to keep the business on one side and the lifestyle on the other. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it does. So why am I making this video? Now, first of all, I wanted to clarify what was going to happen, because until now it was kind of mixed, and it's easier for me in a personal basis, in a personal level, if I have a clear vision of what I want each channel to be, because I knew from the beginning I didn't want to mix the business with the Alzheimer's or anything else. That's one. Number two, Metamorphosis Rocks is not just about Alzheimer's. It's about any changes that happen when people start what I reluctantly call middle age, because I hate that word. When we go over 40, over 50, that channel is for that. Now, one of the things that you're going to find ridiculous, but I want to learn to do it, is I want to learn to skateboard. I've never learned to skateboard. My daughter's about to buy her first skateboard, and I am planning on learning how to use it. Well, the trials and tribulations of a 50-year-old woman getting on a skateboard for the first time are going to be on that channel. If I ever make it to Toro Verde in Puerto Rico, that's going to be on the channel. That sort of thing, that the fun stuff, because not everything can be horrible. And let me tell you something, Alzheimer's has taught me that if you have a good sense of humor, you can survive pretty much everything. So that's what's going to be on Metamorphosis Rocks. Now, as far as there is a possibility that on both channels there's going to be content in English and in Spanish, and I'm going to make sure that I separate the list so that you guys don't get confused. as far as Jamberry, anything that has to do with Jamberry is going to be in Avid Diva. The other thing is, like I mentioned before, this is not an income producing activity for me. This is more to get my name out there. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to bring content that might seem, I don't even know how to explain this. Because, okay, if I ever say something and somebody's paying me to say it, I am going to tell you, not because it's the law, but because I think it's just right for you to know. If I am making money out of an income, if there's something that I talk about and I'm going to get some sort of discount or anything like that because I told you, I'm also going to tell you about it beforehand because I don't like not telling you. Now, I know at some point I had an affiliate link with Amazon, and since I'm going to be talking about books, I'm probably going to try to figure out how that works, and I'm probably going to make a video about it, and I'll tell you about it, and it will be on the Avid Diva channel. Anything that happens, I am going to tell you up front, not because it's the law, because let's face it, a lot of people do it and they don't say it. It's because I feel better about myself if I'm totally honest with you from the get-go. Plus, if we are all learning together, it would make sense that I tell you so that you know how to do it yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now, as far as Spanish, I am going to have a Periscope every day for the month of February. It's going to be somewhere between 10 and midnight Eastern Standard Time, which means I think it's 7 and 9 Pacific, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but because we're on one of those time frames, and I don't understand how time frames work in the United States. All I know is that I'm 1 hour ahead of 1 hour behind Puerto Rico or something like that. So I am going to release content in Spanish. The Periscope itself is going to be in Spanish, and I am going to post it everywhere because I want people to know about it. The other thing that I'm going to ask you, and this is specifically for Avid Diva, is if you know about a social network that nobody knows about yet, let me know in the comments below, because I would like to try every single one of them. And yes, when I figure out how to make it so that you can see the screen I'm looking at, I'm definitely going to teach you how I learned to do it. If you know anything about what I'm talking about, please feel free to tell me how to do it. As far as Alzheimer's, then this is for Metamorphosis Rocks. If you find out anything about studies, about information that you've learned along the way on your own journey, please send a comment to that channel so that we can go ahead and do a little research on it. Now, content that has to do with Alzheimer's is only going to be once a week. It's not going to be every day. And what I'm going to do is whatever we find out in the week, because some weeks you have like 5 studies come out at the same time, and some weeks you have nothing. So that's the reason why I'm going to do it only once a week, which means there are going to be times when the Alzheimer's video is going to be longer, and there's going to be, and there's going to be times when it's going to be shorter. That's going to depend on how much information we have. I'm also going to read and review a couple of books that I've received both in English and in Spanish on the topic of Alzheimer's. And if you have any ideas of anything, from challenges for a 50-year-old woman who started exercising a month ago, to anything that you can come up with, leave in the comments section, whether it's on Avid Diva or on Metamorphosis Rocks. And the reason why I'm not saying leave it here is because this video is going to be on both channels. Leave it in the comment section on the appropriate channel so that we can go ahead and take care of that and test it and find out whatever we need to find out about it. I do appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today, and I hope that you stay with us for this ride, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.